Hey, hey there, discernment. Hey
Hey,
there,
Doc Smith.
everybody. Hey, we got a friend coming on. We're going to welcome to the stage. Welcome to CDC-FDA, everybody. We're
Welcome.
welcoming up Philip Rafferty from Kinergetics Reset
Hello.
Kinesiology. It's
Hello from
Kinergetics
Tasmania, Australia.
Oh, cool.
kinergetics-reset.com. So, hey, my brother Philip, you go by Philip?
Yes.
Well, you've just come on at a perfect time. We're going to get into your story, and I'd love to get your bio and stuff. But here at the beginning, we take a few minutes and we do a little bit of breath work, qigong. So will you join us for that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So anyone, if you're watching this, you're welcome to just stay right where you are, right where you're seated, and where you're standing. You're welcome to stand up, stand nice and straight, nice and tall. Even while we're sitting here, we're gonna come into the Wuji posture. I might have some airplanes going overhead here. So we're going to think about emptiness and spaciousness being created from the inside out. So I'm going to relax my feet. I'm going to feel maybe my Achilles tendon, my heel's a little bit tight, slightly slightly pulled up into my calves a little bit. And I'm going to really lengthen my Achilles heel. Feel that. And I'm going to rotate my ankles, both ankles. As I breathe into the nose silently and out of the mouth, releasing all the exhale before I inhale. And rotate the other direction, ankles. And when I'm ready, relax. Maybe shake them out a little bit. Anytime we want, we can shake out. Anytime. We can always breathe out, open mouth. We're always going to breathe into the nose silently. If we breathe into the nose and we're making noise, that's usually means we're using the higher musculature up here, our upper chest and neck muscles to breathe in like this. We don't want to be doing that. We want to go silently into the nose. Feeling the air seep in and expand 360 degrees. Feeling the belly even expanding to the sides and the back. And then as the belly becomes topped off with air, we feel the upper rib cage begin to expand, creating more space in between each of the intercostal spaces here. I'm going to feel my perineum relax, my sits bones relax. Feel as if there's a string with a weight attached to my perineum, pulling it down to the earth. My shoulders relaxed and back, my elbows nice and open if I need to rotate them at any point. My hands, if there's any tension building up here, I can go like that with a breath out. Flick the energy out using sound effects, using our intention, understanding that there is an aspect of real material energy that can be measured, as well as what we can imagine may even be as much or more. So anytime we need to, we can create some movement in our body, shake it out. Remind ourselves to check in with all of our joints so that they're open and relaxed. And we're going to make our way up to our head and neck area. We're going to feel the front of our neck relax. We're going to feel our chin as our cervical spine extends a bit, and the crown of our head like there's a string pulling it up to the heavens. And even if we're sitting, this can be sort of a base posture for us that we're expanding more and more emptiness from within, including emptiness in the mind, what we call the mind. We'll notice that as we empty what we call the body, the mind is emptied as well. It's all the same. Our emotions that we acquire when we have stagnations and tension that we're holding on to rather than allowing things to flow and release, those emotions that we acquire during that time of tension will resolve into our original attributes. And we can remember that our best methods for strengthening and for detoxing and for balancing, it's actually our breath, our intention together. So from this posture of emptiness right here, let's breathe into the nose silently and breathe in our integrity. And then open mouth, let's exhale out, releasing any grief. Two more times, let's breathe in our integrity. Feeling our structure expand, be strong. Like a white light from the inside expanding out into our bodies. Breathe out. It's like a smoky cloudiness going out. One more time. We'll breathe in our integrity. And breathe out any sadness. Open mouth exhale. It will continue on now. Breathing in wisdom into the nose. And releasing any fear. Open mouth exhale. Imagine a deep indigo blue coming in as we embody wisdom. As we breathe out, we release any fear. Feeling again those Achilles heels and the whole back line of the body relaxing and lengthening. One more time, we're going to breathe in our wisdom. Open mouth, we breathe out, releasing fear. Standing into the opposite of this fetal position that we move towards in slow motion through life. We're going to move on to kindness, breathing into the nose silently, breathing in our kindness. For ourselves and others, we breathe out any anger. Imagining a deep forest green on the way in. And a slimy, toxic green on the way out. One more time, breathing in kindness for ourselves and others. And out of the mouth. Any frustrations. Now we're going to move on and breathe in peace and calm into the nose silently. And any overexcitement out of the even if we start to get what we could call overjoyed, we're going to breathe in peace and calm. We're going to relax our elbows and wrists. Breathe out any overexcitement, any anxiety. Imagining a soft pink color coming into the nose. And out of the mouth, a fiery red. Now for our fifth element, our earth, we're going to breathe in golden earth chi that's going to melt over the tops of our heads and drip down all over our body, all the way down the legs, all the way down, covering the feet and dripping down the toes. As we breathe into the nose silently, out of the mouth. Two more times. We're breathing into the nose, trust. Breathing out any worries. We're breathing in trust. Letting go of anything we're obsessed about. Okay, as we're going to come together here for an intention of connecting to get to know each other, we'll remember this breath that we always have, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not. We can remember that we can breathe in silently into the nose, so that way we're not creating tension on the way in. And we can breathe out of the mouth, open mouth exhale anytime, fluttering the lips, sticking out the tongue. Anytime we feel any tension that we want to let out, let go of. And if we're not feeling any tension, like I'm feeling right now, I'm breathing into the nose silently. Curious about this breath, like watching a tide come in. And breathing out the same way, not pushing it out of the nose. Feeling this Wuji posture of expansion that we've created. Anytime we can reinforce it by lengthening our Achilles heels again, rotate those ankles if needed, relax all the joints, and send the crown of the head up to the heavens. All right, well, thank you all for being here. There's 19 wonderful humans that are on the other side of this. We've got a wonderful show for you today. The Center for Disease Consideration from Different Angles. Welcome. We're going to be interviewing a guest here in a minute. And of course, I'm Doc Smith from healingisfree.com. And I'm here with discernment, because healing is free as long as we have discernment, right?
Good.
So, my friend, I'm going to let you take a minute and maybe say anything if you'd like. But for our guest here, I actually want to see if we can potentially set this thing up so we can stream it to your Twitter as well, Philip. Would you be okay with that?
Sure. But I don't know how to do that.
I think I might have a way to do it here. Um, it might actually. Yeah. Okay. It's just we'll have to set that up another time. Um, you can share this on your Twitter, my friend. Well, discernment. Was there anything you wanted to say before we get started with the interview?
Well, just hello and welcome everyone. Welcome, Philip. We're about to hear all about what you do and a little bit about you. I just wanted to let Philip know that I'm a cell and molecular biologist in biopharma, and I'm trying to get out and help show people how to heal themselves. They can be their own doctor, and show people that the body heals itself. You just have to allow it, basically. And it's philosophy has to do with a proper diet, of course, aligning with nature, being in nature, and movement, energy, and of course your emotions, your emotional state, your happiness. These are the things that affect your health. And welcome to the CDC-FDA, everybody, the Center for Disease Consideration from Different Angles. It's Tuesday night. We just did Qigong. I love it. And I'm going to give it back to Doc Smith.
Thank you so much, my brother. Well, hey, let's get into this interview here. You're coming all the way from where, and tell us a little bit about yourself. And I've got your website up here. I'm just going to let you take it. Please tell us what we need to know about you and what you do, my friend. Introducing Philip Rafferty from Kinergetics Reset.
Hi, everyone. Well, I've been a kinesiologist since 1980. So I guess that's a lot of experience. And there are many things that I specialize in. So I specialize in the TMJ, and that's how I do a lot of the corrections. So what I've learned is that virtually everyone is in some degree of fight flight. And if you're in fight flight, there are certain muscles that go out of balance. And according to traditional Chinese medicine, the muscles relate to the acupuncture meridians and the organs. So if the muscles are out of balance, the organs are out of balance, and the acupuncture meridians are out of balance. And most people, as I said, have some degree of TMJ, which is, dentists would call this temporomandibular joint. I had a Harley Street dentist fly out to Tasmania to do my full set of workshops because I did a demo in London and he was so impressed. So I have taught a lot of dentists. There's about 30,000 people in 23 countries have done my workshops. And there are some quite easy corrections that work on the jaw. So when you have any kind of trauma, so this could be a physical trauma, an emotional trauma, or dread terror, PTSD, some really big trauma, there are several things that happen within a fraction of a second. So the jaw muscles tighten up. This actually saves your life in a car accident. So in a car accident, all the jaw muscles around the head jamming up, that stops the brain bouncing around in the head. And as I said, could save your life. But for the average person, you have a major emotional stress, the same thing happens. And it's a different part of the brain that's supposed to relax those muscles when you come out of fight flight, but quite often it doesn't happen. And there's also full survival. So there are some people stuck in full survival for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. In survival, all the body systems switch off except survival. And there's some very powerful things that happen if you're in survival. So the most important thing in the body is that if you don't have it, you're dead within 72 hours is cortisol. So if you go into survival, the body just produce, everything is geared towards producing cortisol. And all of the others, another 63 chemicals the adrenals produce, but it can't do it if you're in survival. So what I discovered sort of accidentally is how to correct fight, flight, and survival. It takes me about 5 minutes, and it's by working on the jaw muscles. And as I said, there are very specific muscles that will go out if you're in fight state, and there are very specific muscles that go out if you're in a flight state. And these are absolute, unequivocal, always happens. And if you're in a fight, flight, or survival state, you'll react to adrenal hormones. So cortisol, adrenaline can do this with muscle testing. Just test someone, and often they can react about 5 meters away to a vial of homeopathic adrenaline. There's a lady in Germany, when I travel around, I sometimes have my organizers line up their hardest clients, and I'll work on them all in a day. And there's a lady in Germany who her second set of teeth hadn't come through, and she was age 13. So normally for people that have little kids, you'll know that that's about 4 or 5 years later than should happen. And I was the last resort. If I wasn't able to fix this, the dentist was going to take out all her teeth. And she was the one that reacted 5 meters or more away to adrenaline. And I did the TMJ correction, took her out of survival, and within 6 weeks, her teeth started to come through. I've also had people similar that teenage boys that age 15 hadn't started growing, and one kid the next time I saw him had grown about 5 inches. So it can have a very profound effect by taking someone out of survival or fight flight. Now, if you're in fight flight, the adrenals and kidneys jam up. This affects hydration. And once you affect hydration, that affects every cell in the body. And once the adrenals jam up, the body becomes magnesium deficient. So you could say that 90% or more of people are dehydrated and magnesium deficient because they're in fight flight. This is to some degree. And if you give them magnesium, it doesn't usually make much difference because the body uses that magnesium to just make more adrenaline.
Interesting.
And everyone in chronic pain will be in fight, flight, or survival. So I've done around about 200 chronic pain demonstrations in 23 countries. I go on stage and I start with the person with the highest level of pain. I also do this at conferences, kinesiology conferences. Been doing those for nearly 40 years. And I've worked on, probably some of the most numbers I've done were a demonstration I did in Germany. And there was a guy that was from a newspaper, and he did a write-up about it, and he reckoned I worked on 50 people. All I knew it was more than 40. There's a lot of people in one evening in about 3 hours, and I was just working one after the other, and that was over 90% of people had a significant improvement just in a few minutes. So I've also done a lot of YouTube days. So did one in Sydney where I worked on 15 people. Actually, I think it's 16. There's a lady in crutches, but she didn't improve. But 15 people, and I got the video testimonials the same day. So 15 people improved. They're about 25 minutes each they got. And there's some people there with chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, arthritis, migraines, all sorts of health problems, MS, I think, as well. And so it's all connected. So all of those can be helped to some degree by taking them out of fight flight. Because if they don't have, if they're in fight flight, they will be magnesium depleted. So one of the ways I test that, as a kinesiologist, I test muscles in the body. So I'll normally test about 17 major muscles. Usually someone with chronic fatigue will have quite often all of the muscles weak in the body. Somebody with MS will have all the muscles below the waist weak. And with someone with chronic fatigue, I then just put a bag of magnesium over the navel. There are different points on the body that relate to different minerals, and the point on the navel relates to magnesium. And putting a bag of magnesium on the body tests the muscles, all the muscles come strong. So that's showing that the TMJ is involved. The next thing I can do, I can get them to hold the jaw in a certain position. So I'll show you one of the positions. I get them to put their hands over the temporalis muscle like this. Get them to open the jaw, close the eyes, wait about 10 seconds, and then quite often, then testing all of the muscles, you can take the magnesium off the navel, and just holding that position, a lot of the muscles in the body will come strong. So we're showing that there's a connection to TMJ, and we're showing there's a connection with magnesium. And when I correct the TMJ, all the muscles come strong. 99% of the time, all the muscles in the body will come strong, just working on the TMJ. There's two main streams of workshops. There's Reset, that's about a 4-hour workshop. And that self-help is just blasting energy into all the muscles around the jaw, lots of different positions. And there were around about 100 instructors in Europe on that. There are people in America as well. My main trainer is in Salt Lake City. That's all on the website. So if anyone wants to learn that, that's just 4 hours.
I'm showing the workshop curriculum now. Is there a better page to show for people?
No, if you go on workshops, go back up, click on workshops, workshop schedule. PDF, there's a PDF there.
Should I just click here?
Yeah, you can do. So it tells you what's coming up. So the reset correction, it can take, because that's a 4-hour workshop, it's a basic workshop, that takes 4 hours, but to correct it, the corrections take 45 minutes, and it usually needs 2 sessions, one with eyes open and one closed. So that's the shortest workshop, but it takes the longest correction. So you can learn kinergetics as well. And there's 4 pages of PDF. There's some in America there as well. If you go on to the next page, that's Denmark and Germany.
Denmark and Germany, nice.
Yeah, and then there's next page should be the US. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, look at that. June coming right up. And
so Tony's teaching Salt Lake City. And then I'm there, and I'm actually going to be maybe even doing demonstrations as well, Salt Lake City.
Nice. In August?
Yeah.
That's great.
And then
Ireland. It looks like Australia. This is wonderful. This is great stuff, my friend. I love what you're I love your brief so far. Is there anything else?
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah, I already have some questions. But I don't want to interrupt you if you want to keep going.
Oh, well, while my brain's going, I'll just tell you the main things.
Please.
So, when if the body goes into survival, as I said, everything switches off that isn't important. The body switches off hydrochloric acid production in the stomach because it's not important. Think about this. thousands of years ago, if you're in the jungle, you walk around a corner, there's a tiger there. Oops, I forgot my club. What are you going to do? You're going to run. You're going to be going to fight, flight. Your body, it seems like your body actually goes into fight and flight, then it decides what to do. It doesn't have time to decide, am I going to go into fight, or am I going to go into flight, or am I going to survival? It uses different muscles. So everything happens at once, and then the body chooses which one to use. So it'll go into fight, flight. Now, so if you go into full survival, as I said, the body switches off hydrochloric acid production in the stomach, which means you have no zinc, right? Zinc deficiency is massive around the world. So the body switches off hydrochloric acid. Now, for the zinc to be digested, you need very acidic stomach acid. But you can't, your stomach acid is going to be alkaline if you're in survival. If you're in fight, flight, that happens to a lesser degree, but it still happens. So zinc is critical for the immune system. So there's a really, really good books by Dr. Igor Tabrizian on nutrition. And he spent years studying nutrition, medical doctor. He teaches medical doctors in Australia. Remember, regular medical doctors do an hour of nutrition in medical school. So Dr. Igor Tabrizian in his books, he's got lists of which minerals switch off which metals switch off which minerals. So one molecule of mercury blocks 1,000 zinc ions. So even if the zinc's there and there's mercury there, then you can't use the zinc. So you're already zinc deficient if you're in fight, flight. And when you're in fight, flight, the kidneys jam up, the body can't move mercury. I also specialize I've been working with metal toxicity since 1988. So my first major client, this was just before I went full time. She had chronic fatigue. She was having a bowel movement every 3 months, whether she needed it or not. She went to the chemist, got the strongest stuff, had a clean out that literally her bowels were not working. And it took about 6 weeks to fix. So that was about the longest I've ever had to work on someone to make her, but she was really out of bounds. And so I realized that was lead toxicity. She was an artist using lead paint. And I've since had several ones similar, but I was looking out for it. And now I ask people what they do. So, but the zinc deficiency will also caused by aluminium. So if you've got, a lot of people get too much aluminium. So I remember, so mercury and aluminium are probably the worst. And when they switched over most vaccines, thanks to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., we switched over from most vaccines got mercury taken out because of Kennedy, because he's suing the FDA and CDC and all his research on that. But then they replaced it. They added more aluminium in, although the mercury, the thimerosal was used as a preservative. The aluminium's there as an adjuvant, but now there's a lot of aluminium in, and aluminium still blocks zinc. So for those of you who've been done any research in the last 4 years, the reason that hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin work, there are many reasons, but one of the reasons is that they're both zinc ionophores. That means they take zinc inside the cell. And what I realized, and I actually watched, I was up to almost 70 videos on hydroxychloroquine, so I knew absolutely that it worked. Dr. Vladimir Zelenko worked on thousands of elderly, mostly elderly patients in New York I was giving them hydroxychloroquine and zinc. He had and azithromycin. So, and he had only, I think it was 2 or 3 deaths, and one of those had brain cancer out of 3,000 people. So, meanwhile, across town, there were people that were dying at a rate of about 80% of people were dying in the hospitals, and it's like that no one was interested.
Philip, you go by Philip.
Yes.
This is all great. I appreciate this so much. I love what you do. I'm checking out your website, and I encourage everyone to go check out kinergetics-reset.com. And this is a lot of looks like some similar to some of the things I learned in body therapy, and different modalities. There's so many different modalities that are approaching a different way and doing a lot of the same things. What you said to me, that because you're talking about things at the molecular level now, to me, that's all meaningless to me. I think that what you said up front is everything. You help people get into the parasympathetic nervous system response, away from fight or flight. Once we are out of fight or flight, from what I've experienced, and my whole 101 on how do you help people heal, get them out of fight or flight. That's the main thing, and whether you're doing deep tissue massage or just not even touching somebody, if you're helping them to get out of fight or flight, then everything starts to regulate and things take care of themselves. I'm interested in wondering sort of how you initially developed this, like, and exactly maybe more details on. I can see here in a picture, it looks like you're working the shoulder to get it sort of down and relaxed and into a better position there, which, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, unless they're in the profession, that, this TMJ, what's going on with our neck. I mean, it's all completely connected, obviously. The shoulders, I was just working before this live stream. I was just working on one of my clients, and she came in with a really, her neck was really hurting. And I started out working on her neck for a bit, but I ended up working a lot on her shoulders and her deltoids and her biceps. And a lot of this tightness here is because you were talking you even mentioned the meridians, the organ meridians and all that. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that flow of energy. This is gallbladder meridian, basically stomach, so this energy is coming from the sun, and it's entering here, and it's going down to the earth through our body. And so the theory to me that explains it, forgetting about the molecular stuff that requires a microscope, I don't have one of those. So, but this theory of the organ meridians, to me, explains what you're doing to a huge degree. I mean, you are helping them, first of all, to get it out of fight or flight. And then you're helping, it looks to me like what you're doing is you're addressing holistically this joint within the context of the whole body, and getting the joints lined up, getting the body lined up with respect to the meridians. So that's really interesting how you figured all that out together. Can you just tell me a bit about how that came to be?
Well, I did a basic touch of health kinesiology course in 1980, and I was really impressed. And if I want something, I go for it. So
Nice.
This is in Australia. I phoned up America, the headquarters in America. I said, "Where's your next workshop anywhere in the world?" So that's me. If something impresses me that much, so I went out to America and I became an instructor. And then I stayed in America, visited friends, then went back and did another instructor workshop.
Wow.
I came back to Australia, and So I've toured all over Australia. So Touch Health, and then I developed my own system. I started working with sports people. Actually worked on a world champion kickboxer, and he
Can I
said,
just pause for 1 second here, Philip? Because you're talking about Touch for Health, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's a pretty cool system, and that's where the muscle testing kind of comes from. And I took a class of Touch for Health as well. It's really cool stuff. So you first learned that in 1980, and then you came to the USA. Where did you go in the USA, may I ask?
California.
Okay, because I'm here in California, and
Pasadena, California was the world headquarters.
okay.
Oh, I've got a good memory here. North Lake Avenue, something like 1200 North Lake Avenue,
Wow.
Pasadena, California.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm pretty close to there. I'm about an hour north of there. So
Okay. So you've done Touch of Health. I'm gonna, if you flip it back on me, I'm gonna show you where you can test for TMJ.
please. Yeah, this is great. We get a little tutorial for our audience here, because that's one of the main things at CDC-FDA that we want to hammer home each week, folks, is that there's different ways to consider and think about what's happening and what we're experiencing. So, many, many different symptoms. What this gentleman is getting ready to show you, many, 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 many different symptoms will relate to what he's getting ready to show you. It could be any of your symptoms, really. So I would say, even if you don't have symptoms, start working on this type of stuff, your TMJ and all of this. Go through the protocols as prehab, right? Before you even start developing problems. My friend Philip, what do you got to show us?
Ta-da!
Oh, is that a tongue depressor?
Yes, two of them.
2 tongue depressors. Okay.
You take them, you put them between your back teeth.
Ah, okay. Yep.
And you test. I'll give you the 4 muscles. Feel free to write this down.
Okay.
There are 4 muscles that will always be out of balance. I'll explain why in a minute. The muscles are quadriceps, sartorius,
Okay.
psoas, and gluteus medius.
Huh.
So
That's interesting. Let me think here. So the quads, the sartorius, the psoas, so hip flexors, and the glute medius. Interesting.
and there's the front part of the masseter has 100% relationship to the psoas muscle.
Ah. Yeah, I've heard about this, I think.
So you can, from the body, you can see the connection. You go in similar places down the hips. But anyway,
it's the stomach meridian too. For folks, it's basically the stomach meridian kind of going straight down through there, isn't it?
yeah, stomach meridian, but it's more to do with the muscles. So remember I said when you have a trauma, the jaw muscles tighten up. So the trauma is actually stored in the jaw muscles.
Right.
You could probably say I'm also a trauma specialist. I've done about 5,000 trauma corrections. I guess that calls me regional specialist. And what I did on one trip around the world, I got people to name their 3 biggest ever traumas and rate them out of 10 before and after the TMJ corrections. So this is not even doing a trauma correction. This is just doing the TMJ corrections. And this was using I have 3 different workshops with TMJ. So all different workshops, on average, 50% of the trauma cleared.
Wow.
This is any kind of trauma. This is without using my big trauma correction. So this tells me absolutely that the trauma is stored in the jaw muscles. So when we go in, so with the reset TMJ, that's the easy one. We're just energizing all the muscles around there sequentially. But with the other TMJ corrections that take longer to learn, but they're quicker with clients. So it takes me 5 minutes to do the TMJ correction. So I actually go in on the muscles, and then I do an energetic correction on top, which is quite complex, to lock in the correction. And that's the one.
What do you mean when you say an energetic correction? Just for the audience and everyone to understand what you mean.
So using muscle testing, the client's body tells me where the correction's needed, whether it's in the organ, the gland, or the chakras. So often it's in the energy field. So it's like the trauma is held in the energy fields. Their body tells me where the correction's needed.
Right.
So I said that's the complex part. So when you correct the TMJ, all the muscles in the body strengthen. Chronic pain massively changes. So the instant you take someone out of fight flight, you liberate magnesium, and you knock out, you help the body to move mercury. There are some pretty amazing testimonials on mercury, including a lady that was days away from kidney dialysis. That would have been the testimonials on the website.
Okay. I'll find that.
And that was one session, by the way. We got testimonials 6 years later. So it's when you take someone out of fight, flight, or survival, the body can start moving the mercury. And there's a very simple support you can do for mercury. I know this sounds too simple. Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's basically putting your hands over your kidneys.
Right.
So that's one way. That's the way we used to do it in the early days. The other thing, you have one hand at the back, one at the front. That might be a little bit more powerful, and that creates an energy sandwich. And that supports the body to move mercury.
Nice. Do you know that is all Qigong? Your hands are over your Mingmen gate, like back there behind your kidneys. I mean, that's like baking your kidneys with your hands. That's
very powerful.
Those are awesome techniques.
Yeah.
Those are techniques that go back thousands and thousands of years, people. And we are just starting to learn these things again, and try them for yourselves. Just what he showed you there, just having your hands over your organs like that, you'll notice and you'll feel it. The center of our palm, Philip.
Yes.
There's a lot of energy that can move here. It's called the Lao Gong point in Chinese medicine. This is a big one. I tell people when I breathe into my nose and I feel like there's a suction there. And that's how I try to help people to understand what we mean by, energy work or whatever we want to call it. But this is really cool. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I wanted to ask you another question or two, but discernment, did you have anything? Oh, you're muted.
Go ahead first. I got some questions, but go ahead.
Okay. So you were saying with the what you do to test it is you put two tongue depressors together and back to the back molars, correct? Just
fairly back, not right at the front. You need it.
Just try to get it back there. And I mean, could you use a pencil or something if somebody doesn't have tongue depressors, or if they're at home? I mean,
you probably could, but this we found that this is the best. And I use two because I don't want anyone to break their teeth. It just makes it a little bit softer. Mm-hmm. So in Touch of Health, did you learn reactive muscles?
Yeah.
Ah, good. So the more you know, the more I can explain to you. Okay.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So with reactive muscles, that's where with, say, biceps and triceps. So for me, if I'm working with biceps, if I want to test biceps, it'd be like this, pushing this way.
Right.
Triceps come the other way.
Right.
But if you're in a fight state, that's one of the muscles that goes out of balance. One of those becomes reactive, and it's not the one you think. Most people would think the biceps would be the stronger muscle, but it's not. It's actually the triceps. So the triceps switches off biceps. So if you're in if you're in a fight state, you test triceps, then you test biceps, and biceps will just go splat. That is a reactive muscle. And this took me years to research. In fight, there are 5 sets of muscles that do that. Okay.
Okay. 5 sets of muscles that are reactive like that.
Yes. So the anterior neck flexors will get switched off by posterior neck extensors. So here's something really, really powerful.
So our head is going back like this, and that's turning off this right here.
Usually caused by whiplash. Okay. So more than 9% of the time, probably 95% of the time, it's the posterior neck extensors that switch off the anterior neck flexors. When I did a demo in Poland, I lined up, I had 10 people lined up, and I found 10 people with the anterior neck flexors just weak. So like whiplash that had car crashes. I got 10 people in the audience to come over. I got the people to put their head forward, and I got the person at the back to put their hands like this behind their neck. So hand under the occiput here, underneath like this.
Yep.
Went back and tested. 8 of them had corrected.
Wow.
The other 2, I just backed off the posterior neck extensors, the spindle cells, like you learn in touch health. Backed it off, locked the energy in the front, and corrected. So 10 people corrected in 5 minutes for whiplash. One of my instructors in Italy, he had a friend that had a huge massage school, and when he learned this, he went in and said, do you want to learn a technique to correct whiplash in 1 session? And the guy said, why would I want to do that? It takes me 17 sessions.
Exactly.
Now, sure, he may be correcting it deeper, and he might be massaging and everything else, but this works. So that's so whiplash is one of the things that's actually very easy to treat.
Have you ever heard of or thought of this concept called head loading?
No.
Okay. Try this, because I would love to see what you think. Do you have a medicine ball by chance?
No.
Okay. You don't have a medicine ball. If you ever come across a medicine ball, I'm going to show you something, my friend. I'm going to show you something right here. Share this tab. We see this? So I've started doing this myself a few years ago, and it's getting to the point where I have to share this with people. Do you see what I'm doing? You see that?
Using the medicine ball to put a load on your head and basically your neck.
Well, I know you know what I'm doing.
Just talking.
That's 20 pounds, Philip.
Yeah.
I go through my yoga with 20 pounds, and I'm actually up to 30 now. And I walk 2 or 3 times a day with 30 pounds on top of my head.
So that's strengthening the neck muscles.
Incredibly. Brother, I have grown almost an inch. I had wisdom teeth that I was about to have pulled out. They were in such pain. I have no pain at all. All my everything completely transformed from the inside out by forcing my skull to expand from the inside out, putting weight on top of my crown. And I'll try to let me get through here a little bit. Try to show. Yeah, here. Look at this one right here. This is an exercise I've developed. I call it medicine ball ballet. So the crown of my head is pushing up 20 pounds. Now I do it with 40, and I'll have 50 pounds going around my with my leg. My standing leg is really working a lot because my meniscus, my knee, my labrum on my hip, my ankle, all that stuff is really getting complex challenge. And the kicker is the entire time I have perfect posture, not only perfect, but the best I could ever have and ever will have. I'm pushing 20 pounds straight up to the sun. All the sutures in my head, they're challenged. I'll use this ball and I'll push it around with my face on the ground, pushing it with my jaw, push it with my cheekbones, push it with my nose. This therapy, my friend, is doing incredible things for everybody that I introduce it to. And it's done incredible things for me. Here I am putting the ball on my third eye and I'm pushing it up to the sun. So I'm sending my third eye up to the sun. I call this one the opposite of sitting. This is like a baby reaching up to mama with full faith before we've had any shame, before we have any fear. The third eye is going up to the sun, pushing 20 pounds up in Wuji posture. And so I've been developing this, and it's doing a lot. It's doing a broad range of things. I mean, I had a fairly tight TMJ, not anymore. Oh boy, all of it, all these muscles, all the stuff in the front of the neck you were talking about that gets weak, that is typically weak and shortened. I put the medicine ball here, inverting my head. I'll put it under my jaw and work all that. It's incredible. So if you get a chance, my friend, all you got to, I tell people for the first month, just put it on top of the crown of your head and just stand there with it on top of the crown of your head and just send it up to the sun. And it literally expands. You get all these orthodontists, going in and expanding the maxillary arch and surgically. No, put a ball on top of the head, push it up, and it will expand from the inside out. I'm telling you, look at my face. It was not like this a year ago. It looked different. It's crazy, folks. It's crazy. The amount of symptoms that will improve. My sinuses are so clear. My vision's improved. So yeah, medicine ball.
Do they have any lighter medicine balls to start with?
Say again?
Can you get lighter medicine balls? Start with a balloon.
Yeah, actually, friend, I have a video on my YouTube called the collapsing face theory of human de-evolution, and in that video, I show this with a basketball, and that's a great way to start it out, is with a basketball, because there's no weight to it really, and it gives you something that's pretty good size. And really, you see that there? You see what I'm doing, right? So there, I've got a basketball, and it's just allowing me to feel and bring my consciousness to all these points of my face that are never ever loaded, never ever challenged. This is one of the most evolutionary things that humans have done for 200,000 years, because we did not have running water. And the most efficient way to carry anything, and you still see it to this day all over the world, not in our culture, people put things right on top of their head and they walk barefoot, challenging terrain, and they load the head. So I'm just sharing this with as many people as possible, because I want people to try this. And I think Philip, if you get a chance, let me know how it goes for you, brother. I don't know what else we could talk about, what else we could share. We had a bit of something that we were going to go over between discernment and I. So Philip, I think we're going to let you go unless there's anything else you want to share before you go, my friend.
I guess the main thing is that
take your time.
Most chronic pain can usually be helped. Not all, because there's many different reasons for chronic pain. But just taking someone out of fight flight, I've had so many clients that have had fibromyalgia. One lady had seen 60 medical doctors, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue.
You could see 6 million.
Sorry?
They could see 6 million and it wouldn't help.
Yeah, that's actually a different one.
This is an incredible testimonial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so a whole pile like that. So a lot of these, the students, I brought the students up to do the correction. So I'm not a guru, right? The students come up and do the correction. Anyone can do it. And I think this lady was 5 minutes.
Wow.
5 minutes, yeah.
5 minutes.
Totally changed her life because it's just taking it out of fight, flight. Then
There
the
you go.
body can move mercury, the magnesium goes in, the magnesium pulls out the calcium. So the other thing about magnesium and calcium, you guys probably know this, but maybe the others don't. So you're always going to be magnesium deficient if you're in chronic pain, right? So you're going to have calcium excess. You're going to be magnesium deficient, calcium, magnesium, paired minerals. So you're going to have excess calcium. And it's the calcium that causes the pain. The most common causes of the actual pain are calcium, calcium fluoride, aluminium fluoride, and recently it's been, especially with young girls, it seems to be the sweeteners like aspartame. And so those things, they affect the proprioceptors. So that's what's actually causing the pain. And with magnesium, that then affects your vitamin D. So if you're magnesium deficient, you need 2.5 times as much vitamin D. If you're taking vitamin D supplement, and you're not taking vitamin K2 with it, then you're pulling calcium out of the bones. So you can get excess calcium that way. So
Well, shoot, there's a whole rabbit hole here we could go into.
yeah, but the main thing is that as soon as you take something out of fight flight, it liberates the magnesium. Now you can use now it balances the calcium, and it can be instant. People have had arthritis for 10, 20 years. Sometimes it's instant. Sometimes it might take a few weeks of getting magnesium in. But you've also changed your vitamin D as well.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, hey, I think whatever you're doing, it sounds like it's working because I'm just going to read here from your website. Again, folks, that's kinergetics-reset.com. Bunch of testimonials on here. One long testimonial at the end. It says, "Pain is no longer a factor. I'm free. I'm me." That's what it's all about, is getting pain-free so we can feel free and feel like ourselves. And there's
you just go to, I'll show you something else. If you just go to testimonials again, back up to testimonials, go to the top.
okay.
Go to video testimonials. This lady, that is the lady on the left. That's the best explanation of kinergetics. She was at the demo, brought her mother along with arthritis. No need to watch it now.
Cool.
Well, we'll have to watch it another time. We're gonna have you back, my friend.
Okay. The one on the right was in a wheelchair. So if you come out of that, the lady on the right.
Oh yeah.
She's from Denmark. If you get out of that, lady on the right, she was in a wheelchair. One of my students who was in his 80s got her out of the wheelchair. It took him a few months. She's still in chronic pain, but she was out of the wheelchair. She came along to the fibromyalgia conference where I was presenting, worked on her 5 minutes, cleared the pain, and I saw her in Denmark last year. She's still free of pain.
Wow, amazing.
Beautiful. I love it. I love
what
it.
we can do. It's amazing what we can do, my
Actually,
friend. We have a
I
good
love it when
Scroll up so people know where to find it. Go down to the bottom of there. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll up a little bit. Just up a little bit. Up a little. There. So there's 115 video testimonials on YouTube. Wow. So you find it from there.
Okay.
I love hearing about how what's called pseudoscience, etc. And all these people find these things work, right?
Right.
Chiropractic, kinesiology, probably qigong, all these things, they're called pseudoscientists by the quacks who are really doing pseudoscience. It's really funny that
Exactly.
it works. You're going to pile up more testimonials. I just have one little question. I mean, I have a few, but let's just go one because we got to get going. How do you have your the people you are helping to heal and remove pain? How do you have them take in minerals, for example, magnesium?
Okay, as soon as you take them out of fight flight, there is magnesium in the body that they can't use. It's like it's instant. The magnesium goes in, and as soon as you get the magnesium in, it pulls out the calcium. So the magnesium will change the calcium. Magnesium phosphate, magphos, Schussler salts, that's really fast. Epsom salt foot baths is really quick.
So do you use, like, there's, I think, those Schussler salts, there's kits of those things. Do you ever recommend those to people?
The magphos is the one that makes, because it's magnesium, that's the one that's the easiest, it's the safest, and it works really fast. So that goes in, put it under the tongue, just a couple of tablets under the tongue, mixes with the saliva. Now, in some countries, you can't even prescribe that. So every country is different. They have tough rules. But I find that the body will pick up magnesium really fast, whereas other things take longer. And other things like zinc, so the zinc deficiency, it's best to get that from food because you can overdose on zinc. You can get toxic on zinc if you start taking a heavy dose for a few months.
Right, and I'd recommend, of course, beef or lamb, or venison or bison, for lots of minerals. But zinc, if you're deficient, sure. Wow, very interesting, and I don't know. I was struck by a lot of things you said. So we're definitely gonna have you on again. This was kind of a introduction to kinesiology for me, and it's just I love the way it's. Basically, you're doing so much, right? You're strengthening muscles, organs of elimination. You're removing heavy metals, the fight or flight thing. So the nervous system, very, very interesting. Shows how everything's also connected, and I can't wait to learn more.
You could probably just name one disease. Go on, just out of the top of your head.
Arthritis.
There you go. Well, let's do a tougher one.
These are all they're fake diseases.
Well, it's excess calcium usually, so it's
and lack of minerals.
Fight, flight, magnesium deficient, dehydration, excess calcium.
Absolutely.
And the success rate with that is usually very, very high.
See, I would say, and this is where we could go down the whole rabbit hole, I would say it's the movement, it's the breath, the calcium and whatever else is secondary. It's the movement to relaxation from the space of being tense forever. So when we finally move out of that to rest and relaxation mode, that movement, along with the relaxing breath and release of tension, that is what turns us from symptoms to health. But who knows? Maybe there's some, at the molecular level, it's calcium or whatever.
But the fastest way, try it with the sticks. So you can get someone to test those 4 muscles if you've done Touch Health, and it'll tell you whether your TMJ is still out or not.
Now, that right there is what I would say everyone, 41 people watching this, try that when you're at home. If you don't have tongue depressors, you could use something. And the idea is, you said that the quads, the sartorius, the gluteus, psoas.
So the easiest one is the quads. That's just bringing your knee up to 90 degrees.
Right. So in other words, if you have difficulty doing that, or if there's any kind of impairment to doing that, then that suggests that you have a TMJ issue.
No, so if the muscle's weak, TMJ will be involved. If the muscle's strong, then you put the sticks in and it goes weak, TMJ is involved.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter how strong you are. I've worked on people that used to train with Arnold Schwarzenegger. In the sports stuff that I do, I've had two students improve their push-ups by 75%. That's going from 20 to 35, but that is only if they're in a fight state, because it's the fight. If in fight, the main muscles there, upper trapezius, that switches off your latissimus dorsi, supraspinatus, and middle deltoid.
Wow.
Your rhomboids is one that goes out as well. That will affect your pectoralis major clavicular, middle deltoid, and supraspinatus if the rhomboids are out. So,
Okay, you want to hear? I got a hypothesis. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Put a load on top of your head. Send it up. Challenge yourself, and all this stuff, all these measures will improve. If our rhomboids are turned off, guess what? They're going to turn on. If the deep muscles in the back of our neck are turned off, they're going to turn on. You know, all that stuff. I wonder how we can incorporate all this stuff together. I want to learn more about what you do too, my friend, and I want to have you back on here sometime here. You know, in the next few months. Let's get you back on. All right.
I will be traveling a lot. I'm going over to Ireland, Denmark, and the US.
Nice.
Pretty soon.
Well, hey, if you're out around Santa Barbara, California, come out here, and I'd love to meet you.
If the government changes in California, maybe.
I hear you, my brother. I hear you.
If you're in New England, then I want to come meet you.
Where's New England?
Yeah. It's near New York.
Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine.
Okay, up that way. That's New York. Okay. Listen, do you guys, have you ever used, are there any not medical, but semi-medical tests that you guys use? Have you heard of phase angle, body composition analyzer?
No.
Okay, so do you know Dr. McCullough?
Dr. Peter McCullough, I do. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Well,
No, I know who he is. He's the guy with got famous during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. McCullough. Do you know Dr. Zach Bush?
I like that guy a lot, yes.
Okay, so Zach Bush was interviewed by McCullough, and he tested Dr. McCullough's phase angle. Now, phase angle is a measure of cell health. So this is the kind of thing that you could do before and after you work on someone with the medicine ball to see if it changes their cell health.
Interesting.
So McCullough's phase angle was 5.6, and the fastest you can change it, according to Zach Bush, is 0.1 a month. So about a year later, McCullough was up to about 6.4.
Huh.
And so it takes that long. It takes 0.1 a month. In my workshops in January, every year in Australia in January, I have an intensive. In my workshops, I've had people improve by over 1. So virtually 10 times
Wow.
what you're supposed to be able to do. Many times I've had improved by 1. I've had the most in a session is 0.7.
Wow.
So this is probably, if mercury is involved, by strengthening the body to move mercury, that liberates the zinc. And then what is the minerals that affects the cell health is the minerals. And you can do all of the other stuff you like, but if the body can't use the zinc, it can't fight disease properly. It affects everything. And I think zinc deficiency might be one of the factors involved in a lot of people becoming trans. They've got metals that the body can't move. There's a lot of aluminium in the vaccines. Aluminium knocks out zinc. So the closest that is anorexia. If you look at the research on anorexia, the thing that worked best is zinc. People don't know what they are. They don't they have a false perception of what they are
Mm-hmm.
because of metals in the body. And there's massive switch in vaccines. And I don't know whether you know, a lot of medical people don't know this, but injected is like 100 times worse than ingested.
Right.
Mercury and aluminium vaccines,
Yep.
mercury is still in the one vaccine, and does go into the brain. Even Wikipedia tells you it goes into the brain.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. And
Yep. You don't want that.
that's right. I was reading that salicylic acid can also help get aluminum out of your brain. Salicylic acid. So look it up. Take a look. See what you can find.
I didn't. I get emails from Professor Christopher Exley. He's the expert on aluminium, and it's got to be mineral water and super micro silica in several kinds of mineral water.
Right.
And it takes a long time.
And there's one of Schussler's cell salts also has that, but there's a lot to this. We'll have to get into this next time. And I actually recommend people put sea salt on their food and in their water to obviously get all these salts and electrolytes and minerals into the body. But I also think that it's possible we don't need to do so much of that the body can make these things, and it's in there. We don't need to take supplements, basically, is what I would say, and especially synthetic supplements. And I wouldn't say that sea salt is a synthetic supplement, right? You can get good sea salt that's taken from seawater, dried in the sun, and you could pretty much get all the minerals you might need. But of course, if you're going to eat food, you're going to obtain some that way also.
What I like about Philip's methods here is it's relying on understanding and using what we have naturally, our body, and learning a technique where you can actually help people right then and there, and you don't have to refer them to a specialist and write them a prescription.
That's right.
And then they have to spend more and more money and go take more and more time, and you haven't even helped them.
And you're teaching people to heal themselves also. That's
Exactly.
basically, and that's what Doc Smith and I are also trying to doing. Where you don't need to see us or talk to us and pay us for the rest of your life. You can learn these things and do them yourself.
Well, hey folks, there's a great website here. It's kinergetics-reset.com, and go check this out. You can learn more about Philip Rafferty, his whole team, and go take one of these workshops. If you're in a dead end job, you don't like what you're doing. There's so many people out there that need help. I can't help everybody. Discernment, Philip, we can't help everybody. We need to train the trainers. We need to get more people out there learning these techniques so we can help each other without surgeries and drugs and all that stuff. So using our hands, our heads, and our hearts, and creating techniques that will yield testimonials like this. Go check out the great testimonials on his website. So kinergetics-reset.com. Philip, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Was there anything else real quick before you go?
Just going to say, one of my students in Brisbane worked on someone with severe vaccine injury. Neurological vaccine injury made a massive difference. So for certain types of vaccine injury, it helps. I did basically a research project and brought a whole pile of Gardasil injured girls into a workshop in Denmark. We found them in 48 hours. We found all of these girls. There's 7 of them, I think, vaccine injured from Gardasil. And they all had a big improvement, really big improvement that day, but they needed homeopathy, and to get the aluminium out, it needed a lot more work. So they only got that one thing in the workshop. So, but it shows you can make a fast difference. And then if you have some other kind of therapy, maybe a naturopath, homeopath, whatever, to work with then they can maintain the corrections.
There you go, folks.
Nice.
Go check out these workshops. Go get yourself educated. Kinergetics-reset.com. There's many different schools of thought out there, and I suggest trying them all. Try to see what works for you. Check them out. If it resonates with you, your inner doctor's telling you to check it out, do it. All right. Well, hey Philip, we'll have to get you back on here sometime again, maybe in the summer. Okay.
Okay, Doc, and remember, check your quadriceps sartorius psoas gluteus medius with the sticks.
Oh.
If it's okay, this flat, you can do it at 90 degrees as well.
Okay. Love it.
And that axis at 90 degrees, that's the, if any of you do trauma work, to access deeper trauma, you put, this is one of the things we do, you put the sticks in at 90 degrees, that accesses the periaqueductal gray matter in the brain, which relates to trauma.
Wow.
So and having worked on so many traumas, usually I can correct almost any trauma by 80% in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Impressive.
I know it's hard to believe, but it's like
I believe it. Oh, I believe it. I've seen it.
We're clearing half of it with the TMJ. It makes it so much easier.
It's logical. It makes sense.
Once you start helping people get out of the fight or flight and working, getting their joints open like you're doing, and everything you're doing is helping, my friend. Thank you so much for what you do, and we're gonna have you back on here in a few months. All right, Philip?
It's now 10:26 and I haven't had my breakfast yet. So
there you go.
Morning. So good night to you. Good afternoon.
Intermittent fasting. Have fun, brother. Maybe we'll see you out here in California, okay?
Thank you.
Peace. Nice meeting you. Bye.
All right, Discernment, we'll stay on here together, my friend.
All right. Yeah,
there we go. We're still live. We're rocking.
All right. That was interesting. I can't wait to have him on again. I learned a lot, and I'm actually going to go try exactly some of those things he said, because I'm sure any one of us could have a weakness somewhere, like in those muscles he mentioned, first of all. But at this point, I don't know anything. I can't wait to learn more.
Well, what I would say is focusing on anything other than our practice is focusing on something that's going to take us out of our practice. So add it to our practice. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna add it to my practice. You feel me? So that's what I like about what he was talking about with the TMJ. I mean, I've felt a lot of improvement with a bunch of stuff by addressing this. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but like a year ago, man, it was definitely thicker here and like swole. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it was like the muscles were they were not well functional. They were knotted together. You know what I mean? Like I think my SCM, my big neck muscle here was like kind of knotted in with.
Yeah, you weren't getting flow. You're getting stagnation and buildup or something.
Well, I mean, it's just I wasn't head loading. I wasn't head loading, and I've started head loading, and I'm telling you, this is the jam, brother.
I started doing it. I got a 4-pound medicine ball to start with. I have a 10 also, but I started doing it. I don't know. I can't wait to grow an inch.
I don't know if you'll grow an inch. It'll depend on how forward you were, but yeah, brother. Try it.
I mean, in height. I don't.
5 minutes,
inches.
5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, with 5% of your body weight to start.
Beautiful.
So for all 49 people that are watching this right now, that's the head loading protocol. I got a dog acting like he wants to go out. Son of a gun.
All right, Hank.
How did you know it was Hank?
It was a good guess.
I think he's just messing with me, actually.
Probably. I'd mess with you too.
Yeah, I know. I don't like you anymore.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Just joke. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to share something here. Oh, Jesus. Hold on a second.
We love you. Ugh. All right, it's time to get out of here tonight.
Is it time to get out of here?
Yeah, it's 8:30 over here.
Oh, it's 8:30. All right.
All right.
This is me just like 2 hours ago working on. I mean, I'm all working on, neck, TMJ, all that stuff. She had and it's on video. She said before we started, she said, I'm a 5 out of 5 on pain, 5 out of 5. And
Oof.
when we were done, she said she's at a 2.5.
Beautiful.
So, I'm not discounting any one modality. I'm just saying, as long as you do it,
Do
which
what
is,
works.
yeah, it's going to help. And the main things are helping them to relax. You hold somebody's head in your hands when they're lying down, and if you're all relaxed and you don't even have to do anything else, literally. You know what I mean? Now, in reality, I did have to do some work and she was really tight. And I think if I had just held my hands and did nothing else, she would have been like, yeah, it went from a 5 to a 4, but it went from a 5 to a 2.5 and probably 45 minutes, but, we can all do these things, folks. And the point is to reach out and get yourself out of the system, out of the matrix, think about things differently.
Yeah. Look from a different angle. There are different angles.
Exactly.
And yeah, we don't, there's angles that we don't recommend. And those are taking pills and pharma drugs, right? We got to treat the body holistically. And of course, have the thoughts and beliefs that are positive, that you're going to heal. You're going to get better. Positivity.
There you go. Well, hey, let's close it on up, and we'll invite everybody back for next week, next Tuesday, 4:00 Pacific, 7:00 Eastern time for CDC-FDA. And we're going to get started actually reading into some ancient Chinese energetic medicine stuff. So go to CDCFDA.com and sign up on the form there to become part of our team. And we're going to have a fundraiser soon to create awesome materials and a journal and things like that. So be part of that. Go to CDCFDA.com. Well, I'm Doc Smith with Healing is Free. Check me out at healingisfree.com. And Discernment here is my friend. How do folks find you?
At Discernment on the Twitter and
Audacity of Health, right?
Yeah, the Audacity of Health. Went through a detox, wrote about it, feel amazing, want to share it, made a website, want to help people realize that they can heal themselves. They should be their own doctor. And I'm just learning so many other things too. And all these things work. Incorporate what works for you, whether it's Qigong, kinesiology, all the other ways to detox, purify the body, get close to nature, walk barefoot, get that medicine ball on your head. I started doing it. And again, when we move, we have flow, we have more energy.
Oh yeah. All right, my friend. Well, hey, thank you for another wonderful episode of CDC FDA. We're going to do it again next week.
Yeah.
Episode 10.
Woo! It's a milestone. All right. Thank you. Love and light, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you next week for another amazing episode. CDC. They're only getting better and better.
Rock and roll.
Peace.